out there, my business newbies, my entreps. I am Irene Wilkins, and as usual, on Wednesdays, we go live in your business. I'm super excited to talk with you guys today. I encourage you to take the moments when you are watching this video. If you have questions about the topic of discussion, ask away. I would love to feed you guys with information to the best of my ability. And since I am dubbed the solutionist, that's what I'm here for, to create a solution for the problems that you have inside of your business. So today's topic is super duper great. We are going to be talking about myths, 10 myths that's like a tongue twister, myths about your entrepreneurship. So, a lot of times people have an idea what an entrepreneur is, and lo and behold, it's so much more different than what one may think, including yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, you have probably already understood that there are so many different things than what you initially thought when going inside of this journey. So, I'm here to boop, bust a couple of those myths and to also give you some very useful tips if you are struggling with any of the areas or if they actually apply to you. So here we go. Um, there's just like the overall myth that entrepreneurs work 24/7. They don't sleep, they go to bed late, they wake up early, or they don't sleep throughout the night because they're working on a project or an idea. And while this may be true at times, most entrepreneurs learn how to not have those type of habits because no one went into entrepreneurship to work more than when they worked for an employer per se. But what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they spend a lot of time being able to learn the true journey of entrepreneurship, how to scale without spending tons of time and energy in areas that they should not be spending it. And so that myth that we just work 365 days a year, 24 hours a day is incorrect. However, for those of you out there who have that type of schedule, maybe that is just the type of go getter you are, or you just thought that's what you're supposed to do. There are ways to change that habit. That habit is not the best habit to have. You need to spend time with your family, friends, loved ones, and yourself. Self care is super important in entrepreneurship. So, for you out there who may be needing a balance, what you are going to want to do is set up a schedule. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to be able to set up schedules. That means your goal is to go to sleep at a certain time. You can work on the projects tomorrow, you guys, unless you have a super duper important deadline. It can wait until the next day. And even with those deadlines, you want to get better at learning how to space that out so you're not procrastinating, waiting to the last minute. Trust me, I completely understand. That's one of the hardest things for me to unlearn because sometimes we feel like procrastination fuels us and gives us extra energy, and really it's just stressing your mind and your body out. So if you find yourself working 24 hours a day inside of your business, stop. Create a schedule that is a feasible one. I always tell people when you start your business or when you're working inside of your business, one of the things that you want to do is create a business schedule. If you want to work Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, do so. do so inside of your business and follow that schedule. So that's one myth that we're going to bust right now. And if you are making that myth true, let's get that schedule and time management together. So another myth that a lot of people think about entrepreneurs is that entrepreneurs take lots of risk. Now, this is a good one because the definition of entrepreneurship is taking risk. You have to be able to understand that you're taking a risk in the unknown and you are trying to make it happen. Some way, somehow, hopefully not on a whim. Hopefully, you have an actual structure, a business plan, something like that. But the reality is that most entrepreneurs don't take like these really high risk throughout their journey. So some of the risks, of course, is hey, if you start working for yourself, maybe you've decided you're going to leave your job and start working for yourself and you're going all in. That's a huge risk, right? Because now your money flow is different. You may be, bills are due, things like that. So that's a really big risk. However, usually the risk is based off of a calculation. So hopefully you're not going into, entrepreneurship with no plan. That's the type of risk that a lot of entrepreneurs try not to make. And granted, being a hobbyist, being a business owner in itself doesn't necessarily make you an entrepreneur. So this is for those who understand that a little bit more or who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to understand what that journey looks like a little bit differently. So if you are taking unnecessary risk inside of your business, stop. It's okay to plan. It's actually the best way to become successful inside of your business. Plan in the areas that you are not familiar with. I've had to learn this, you guys. Don't try to learn something that's not for you to learn. If it's like IT, you do nothing IT, nothing with SEO, all these crazy terms, automations. If you don't do anything like that, it may not be in your best interest to try to learn it when you're building a business or when you're an entrepreneur. Hire someone. There are some great places if your funds are low is the local colleges. People don't really think about that, but go to a local college or inquire, call them and say, hey, I'm a business owner. Do you have any in-school students that are looking for volunteer work? That do IT, website building, things like that. And a lot of people will be open to no cost or low cost jobs because they need to build their resume. So think about that, and now you're giving them some work. They're working with you. You guys are growing together. It's a win-win type of relationship. I love that. I used to barter when I first started, because I'm a resume writer as well. So I would barter that I would write their resume if they helped me, or I can pay a fee and barter the resume as well. So there's just so many ways around it versus hiring someone if your funds are low who is super accomplished, charging, $5,000 for your resume, for your website, which isn't, that'd be crazy, right? If you could charge 5,000 for a resume. But if someone is working on your website and they are super accomplished, you might not have, 3,500 to 5,000 coming out the pocket. So go to your local colleges, see who's in school or a recent graduate that needs the work or is looking for volunteer opportunities to build their client base or their testimonials, and see how you can work with them. Number 3, entrepreneurs are only motivated by money. That is a myth. That is such a big myth. Now, the difference between a lot of people is their motive when they're starting a business. Some people start a business thinking first about the money. And if there's anything that you want to learn, is that money should not be your first thought when going into entrepreneurship, because most people don't start with making money. Most of the time, you're going through a lot of learning and trials and ups and downs and figuring out how to create a successful business. And on average, it takes 2 to 3 years to start seeing a profit inside of your business if you start one. So you want to make sure that you're motivated by something else. And the majority of entrepreneurs are motivated by a purpose. They're purpose driven. So money does not make the world go round, you guys. That's just the reality. It helps. It helps in a lot of ways, but it shouldn't be your one motivating factor to being an entrepreneur. And that's just a huge myth along the way is, hi, hey, I'm on live right now. That's okay. um, okay, you guys. So that is going to be another one. Let's see here. Sorry, someone stopped in and say hi. Super sweet. So another myth is that entrepreneurs raise money from venture capitalists. That is not necessarily the case. Most entrepreneurs, $185.5 billion is from personal loans and credit as an entrepreneur. So a lot of times people go into entrepreneurship that I've talked to who say like, I want to have someone else fund my business. There are a lot of individuals who end up taking business loans or using their own money. So a solution to that, if you don't want to do grants are great. They are not as easy as some people may think. There is a strategy and steps to getting a grant. And usually once you get a grant, after that first one, it's easier to get more after that. But that first one takes a lot, and you have to make sure you are, the criteria applies to you. But on a different note, if you are looking for money, like how do I fund my business? Developing your business credit is super huge, you guys. It's really, really important. Business credit it does more for your business than personal credit. There's things that you can buy with business credit that you can't buy with your own personal credit, even if you have great credit. So it's something to definitely look into as you're building your business. Myth number 5. Myth number 5 is going to be entrepreneurs have great ideas. Guess what? Not everyone has great ideas. And that, it took me a moment to speak that, because the reality is if you haven't tested it, if it isn't tested and tried and you see, if you haven't done your research, if you are in an area where you want to start a business and you haven't seen if you haven't done research to see if it's going to be a lucrative business, doesn't mean it's a great idea. So many people start businesses based on someone else starting it, finding success, and then them saying, oh, I think I can do that too. And so they started. As an entrepreneur, you do not want to reinvent the wheel. Don't do it. Unless you are, pretty much in the tech realm or Bitcoin, those type of, situations, those type of businesses, I should say, those are a little bit different when you create, when there's an invention. But as far as the majority of businesses, look at what's working. Look at the competition, as they say. I truly believe that, I know technically you have competitors out there, I like to use a different word because I don't really feel like, and this is me just being transparent, I don't feel like anyone is competition with you. I think we are all created with different minds, different beauty, different individuality. And because of that, you really don't have competition. You just have other people who may be doing something similar. But guess what? There is only one you, so only you can create the way you are. Even if someone were to do a similar idea, um, you have a spin that no one else will have. So own that. Own that. Try really hard. You know, the way that you speak helps create the mindset that you have. So if you are a person thinking that people are out here competing with you, it may have a negative, you know, it may do something negative to your mind. So better yet, instead of thinking like that, think that it's only one you, humbly speaking. We don't want to be haughty about it, but humbly speaking, you are special. It's only one you. You can create a lifestyle or a business like no other and set the tone for the people in your life who love and value you and may not even know how incredible you are inside of your entrepreneurship journey. Just so that you know, here's an example of uniqueness. Uber and Lyft are very similar, right? Lyft services more women, they're more comfortable, and then Uber more men. They both are at the head of their game. You know, these companies were created by entrepreneurs. They gave opportunities to individuals to become what's called a 1099 individual, which still makes them self-employed. And so look at what they've done. They've created self-employment, which people can take that so many different ways. They can create their own business similar to it once they learn the tricks and the trades of everything. So remember that. Number 6, you guys, is going to be that anyone, a myth. This is a myth, you guys. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. There's over 7 billion people in the world. So to think that 7 billion people potentially would be an entrepreneur, excuse me, is not right, because then there's no employees, right? There's no individuals to buy. There's so many different variations of how to look at that. But everyone cannot be an entrepreneur. Why? Does everyone have a skill set to be able to start a business? Correct. Yes, they do. Is everyone unique enough? Probably. The reason why that would not be possible is because most people aren't willing to put in the work. Most people are not willing to put in the work to become a successful entrepreneur. It's very easy to say, I own a business. Sounds good, feels good. I own a business. I run a business. But when it comes to creating a successful business, it is work. It is not easy. And so most people don't want to do that. Most people won't hold themselves accountable to wake up on time, answer emails in a timely manner, set up accounting, be able to market on social media, even be consistent with a, you know, something like a weekly live is hard for a lot of people. And trust me, in entrepreneurship, it's not the same as, you know, working for an employer. With an employer, if you want to take some time off, you could just say, hey, I'm giving you 2 weeks. I'd like to take a week off if you have that time earned. But inside of your entrepreneurship journey, it's very hard to tell your potential clients or your customers, hey, I'm taking a week off, unless you've set up a really successful business. That's the key here, because then your business operates without you being there. So can everyone do that? I wish they could. Will everyone do that? No, they won't. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll give you some numbers here. There's 1.9 billion people that are just too young to work in this world. 1.7 billion work in services. I'm in a service business. And then the majority of the others work in agriculture or labor, things like that. So remember that. Um, Number 7, myth, you guys. Again, myth is entrepreneurs. I love this one. This one's like, entrepreneurs have formal training and education. Guess what? I remember they don't. So that's the look. Before I go further, not all entrepreneurs have formal education. And a lot of them don't because they felt since they were young. I know I was a person like that. I knew I didn't want to go to school. I was smart. I got good grades. um Highly intelligent conversations. Started reading chapter books when I was in the second grade, looking up vocabulary words, all these things. That's just who I was, right? But I knew at a young age that I did not want to go to college. And I know we've been taught by the majority of society, like, yes, you need to go to college, get an education. I just always felt like that isn't the only way to be successful. And then when I became an adult, it wasn't until I was like in my 20s, that I found out that there's so many individuals who are successful without a degree. So I'm not knocking anybody who has a degree, excuse me, but what I am saying is that a lot of entrepreneurs decided to get training. If you need to learn how to do your own bookkeeping, a great resource is Allison.com, you guys. You got to write that down. I'm going to see if I could type that. It has everything. I'll just keep that real. Any type of learning that you want to do inside of your business, Allison is a free resource that you can, sorry, you guys, that you can take advantage of. And if you want to learn bookkeeping for your business, if you're not ready to hire someone, if you want to make sure you're hiring the right person, or if right now financially you can't afford to hire someone, that is a great resource to understand how to do your invoices, how to pay when bills are due inside of your business. And it's free, but it's a great training. You can even get a certification for it. So I just put that in the comments. And there's so much more. Money management, how to be an entrepreneur. There's so many free resources. This was developed by college professors, entrepreneurs, all different individuals who said, let's offer some free information. And so many people don't take advantage of it. So, no, most of us don't have formal training. But what I will say is if you want to be successful, every person needs a coach. You can call it many different things, a mentor. Children need an adult who teaches them how to learn things. You can't just learn from nowhere. You're only limited to the knowledge that you have. So you have to be able to learn from somewhere else, whether it's a book, whether it's a coach, whether it's paid training. Technical institutes are great. It's just something that you have to learn from. And if you're an individual who says, like, I can learn for myself, that's a little bit scary. You should learn lessons from yourself, but someone's got to teach you. And then what happens from there is you gain extra knowledge, you're able to share it with others, and then you become the expert. It's a beautiful rotating environment. Myth number 8, entrepreneurs are young. Not necessarily. Now, we do live in a time where a lot of younger people want to own their own business. They realize, whether it's from parents or older ones who told them this is not the life, working for someone and then just, possibly getting fired after you've dedicated 30 years to this business. So a lot of younger people do want to be entrepreneurs, but No, think about the people who became successful. If you look that up on Google, after 40, you've got Steve Jobs, you've got Oprah Winfrey, you've got so many individuals who became billionaires once they reach their 40s. So don't think that you can only be an entrepreneur if you're young. 70% of teenagers right now are interested in starting their own business. So, if you are in that myth, oh, I can't start a business because I'm, you know, too young or too old, don't believe it. Don't believe it. Number 9, entrepreneurs don't quit until they succeed. That is not true. Entrepreneurs, some people call it failing. I call it learned lessons. As long as you don't give up, it's never a fail. But so many fall short when they start up. I've had 2 businesses that did not turn out. One, I quit because at that stage mentally I was not ready for it. The second one the second one was with another individual. We both opened our own separate businesses. Great. This one, you guys, is a product of, learning the skills that I learned. This is my like, ooh, I got it. This is my purpose business. I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do. I've learned that. So understand that if you're not where you want to be right now inside of your entrepreneurship journey, it's okay. As long as you don't quit. And guess what? If you're not doing what you love, if you started this business because somebody else found success in the area that you're working in, you might want to think about it and just come back to the drawing board, because within 10 years, 80% of businesses fail, you guys. 80%. That means like we're hanging on that 20%. We got to be in a purpose. You can't just start a business like, oh, this is cool now. A lot of You see that. Like, I know you guys could go on social media right now and see a business where everybody is doing that thing right now, because a lot of people are have a fad mentality, a popularity mentality, and so they start doing things because they see everybody else. I got to get in on this. A lot of multi-level marketing businesses run like that. And then what happens? Do you think, the business like that, if you're involved in that, just think about this question: are you going to want to do this business 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Are you going to love it? Are you going to wake up and be like, there's so much more to this business than the money? Because the money will always come if you do business right. Doesn't matter what you do. We got sunglasses on my desk, pens, paper clips. Somebody started a business that became successful off of that. But do you love what you're doing right now? That's the real question. So I got like one more for you guys, and then I'm off to my next meeting. But in conclusion, entrepreneurship, is it genetic? Myth. No, it's not. Most entrepreneurs are not born that way. Most of them started their own entrepreneurship journey. Most people were like, this isn't it. Maybe they saw their grandparents struggle, their parents struggle, and they were like, I want something different. I want to create a business so I can help my family to create a legacy. And so, hey, guess what? They decided not to do that, not to go the traditional route, and to create their own lucrative business. So I am going to put in the comments right now, you guys, I have a 10 steps to starting a business. I just put that in there. It's a free guide. Download it. Make sure that you are on the right track to starting your business the right way. And even if you started your business, look at the guide. Make sure that you are doing things right, because you don't want to be that person that falls through the cracks a few years from now because you didn't set up your foundation the way that you should. Remember, a weak foundation crumbles, but a strong one stays for many, many years to come. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. I will be back next Wednesday to speak to you guys more about being in your business. And as I always say, let's get it.